Now, my follow-up question to this. In the NBA playoffs coming up this next season, let's make a huge projection. Who's going to be the perennial all-star to take the back seat on their team this year? And you can't say Devin Booker.
For the All-Star game?
No, for the playoffs, I said.
Oh.
Which perennial all-star, which like one of the best players, which player will be the one to take a back seat this year?
None of them.
I have a kind of interesting one.
Okay.
Jamal Murray.
He's not a perennial All-Star.
He's not a perennial all-star.
He's not even an all-star.
I'm talking about someone that's made an all-star game, someone that's a 1 or 2 option on their team. More so a 1 option, but like if it's a super team, obviously.
I'm going to go off of just because, Jimmy Butler.
Ooh, say it a little bit louder for the people.
Jimmy Butler, because of what the situation's going on with his contract right now.
That would make him want to get the ball more in his hands because he's in a contract year. And he needs to start taking the regular season seriously.
Yeah, but that's if Miami does make the playoffs. And they were on the cusp. But, okay, I'm going to say, okay.
Russell Westbrook.
Damian Lillard.
Ooh.
Okay.
I think, you know what? That's a great take because when Dame and Giannis are on the floor together, it does not work.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
unless they make it work.
Unless, stagger the minutes where Dame can run the second unit.
Or Chris Middleton.
Well, he's already taken back seats.
Oh, yeah. He has double backseat.
He's also a little bit old, a little bit washed.
I don't want to say Jaylen Brown.
No.
If anything, Jalen's taking that front seat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like he's,
Absolutely.
he doesn't care anymore.
I'm trying to think who else could potentially take the back seat. Low-key, if he wants to stay healthy, Joel Embiid. Doesn't have to do as much.
Cat or Gobert?
Cat's already taken the back seat.
Cat or Gobert.
Both of them already took
Both
that
of them already
backseat,
did because they know it's Ant's team. I think if Embiid doesn't put as much weight on his shoulders, then I think he could potentially not get hurt.
What about Randall?
Julius Randle.
Does he take the back seat this season?
Julius
He's not a perennial all-star.
He's made the
He's an
all-star
all-star
multiple times.
And he was the first option for that team for
the
last
and
3 years.
The last
2
time
years.
I
take
recall,
backseat.
the last time I recall, in the past 2 out of the last 3 times the Knicks have been eliminated from the playoffs, Julius Randle shot them out of that series single-handedly.
Because he didn't take the back seat.
But he can take backseat.
Why?
We need him.
Bro, you have a bunch of guys now.
I understand that, but we need him.
Yeah, but needing him doesn't mean...
We needed him to beat the Pacers this year.
Right, but what I'm saying is that needing him and him taking the back seat, that could still happen.
Right.
You don't need him to take shots away from Brunson.
If he's playing shit, then yes.
Right, but I'm talking about voluntarily, voluntarily taking the back seat. If let's say Randall's taking 26 shots in a game, that can't happen. Unless he's got on a super heater, you need Jalen Brunson to be taking the most shots in the game.
Do you agree with that?
Yeah.
So then he would be taking a back
It's going to be Jalen and Mikal.
So then he would be taking the back seat.
Mikal Bridges is not going to have this offensive role.
Excuse me, stop it. Yes, he is.
Mikal Bridges is going to be in that 3-and-D role that he was in Phoenix. This is where he belongs.
He's going to be offensively much more efficient.
If you expect Mikal Bridges to be this offensive prowess guy, he's going to be
Who
struggling.
else is going to be offensive besides Jalen Brunson?
It's going to be Brunson, and it's going to be Randall. That's going to be your 1-2 punch.
I think Mikal is going to be offensively too.
Listen, I'll tell you what they're going to do.
OG's going to throw in offensively too.
Anthony, listen. They're going to have the same exact play style as they did his last year, except now there's better players. Mikal's going to fit into that role because he's a better player than some of those other guys.
But
Same thing
you're
with
going to
OG,
have – they're both going to score.
thing.
But they're both going to score.
They're going to score, but it's not going to be nothing crazy.
Mikal,
Like 15.
The shot diet of Mikal Bridges on the Knicks is going to be way different than the Nets. It's going to be more similar to Phoenix, maybe a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because he's obviously now a better player than he was in Phoenix.
Right.
And I think you'll see the offensive. I'm really curious to see on the defensive end what he does, and that will really determine his offensive capabilities. Because if he's a cone again this season, then you need to get him the ball. But if he's stepped it up on defense again, then I don't think he's going to be taking as many shots as he would in his Brooklyn days.
Yeah.
So he's also not a player to take a back seat like that. He naturally does as a role player, but I think Randall and Embiid are 2 good choices as far as taking the back seat. Let's try and think of one on the Western Conference. Let's try and get a West guy in before we move on. I'm just trying to think who it could realistically be. And low-key, I have an answer, but I don't know I don't know if it's a warranted answer.
What team are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of the Lakers.
You talking about AD?
No.
D'Angelo Russell.
I'm talking about LeBron.
LeBron.
I'm concerned about LeBron's durability.
He should have been taking a back seat.
I'm concerned, but that's the problem because the Lakers have been constructed so badly that LeBron kind of has to do everything.
He can't take backseat.
That's the problem. That's why I said low key. If the Lakers had a better team around him, then yes.
If they brought in Trae Young, then he can take backseat.
Right, or just any.
Well, AD is supposed to be the guy, right?
Well,
No.
Bron said a
really.
couple
LeBron's team.
Bron said a couple seasons ago he is taking a backseat to AD. He said that already.
Right, but it's the GM, so
You can't do that.
it's hard. But as far as like, I'm just trying to think who else could take a back seat.
Wait, LeBron is taking a backseat. You know why? Because his son is named LeBron. So he is taking a backseat.
I mean, he's not. You can't argue with that logic. But yeah, it's tough. The West. I feel like the West.
I don't
is
think
more,
anybody can take backseat in the West.
I know exactly who will take a back seat, and I think it's going to be Brandon Ingram.
Okay.
Well, I listen. I was telling you, he needed to get traded.
Well, yeah, they do need to trade him. I also think I think DeMar DeRozan could also take a back seat as well.
Yes.
It's about making that sacrifice, but I think with Brandon Ingram specifically, it's kind of like the Embiid. It's the Embiid paradox where if Bro just doesn't try to do as much, maybe he won't get hurt.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's kind of what it is. Because I think Zion needs to do more. It's just Zion was not in shape until now. This is the best Zion's looked since his Duke days. So
I can't wait to talk about
I'm
the
excited.
projections for the season.
Oh, I cannot wait for that.
Can't wait.
And
But
now-
the thing
now-
with Zion doing too much, though, he's going to get hurt.
No.
Remember,
He's in good
Zion's
shape.
in shape now.
He's in
The
good
thing
shape.
I
with
understand that.
Ingram's been in shape, like good enough for what it is, but Ingram just does too much. Now that you have DeJounte Murray there, he's going to alleviate so much pressure off of both him and Zion, and I think that also alleviates the pressure off of McCollum, who will also take a back seat as well. So I think that's the ultimate answer is CJ McCollum, because he doesn't have to run the offense anymore and look like shit.
That's a good
He's going to be
take.
back in his natural position like he was playing with Dame.
It's a good take.
Except he's got DeJounte there, so
So CJ is taking the back seat.
absolutely.
I agree with that.